Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Several WWE superstars such as Roman Reigns, Nia Jax, and Tiffany Stratton were involved in a heartbreaking post following SmackDown. These superstars met a young WWE fan who was dealing with a fatal illness, although she's doing her best to fight it. The Blue brand made its re-debut on the USA Network last Friday after 5 years on Fox. One of the fans who attended the show live was Scarlett Guillen. The young WWE Universe member suffers from a rare form of pediatric cancer called diffuse midline glioma, or DMG. It mainly affects the brain, brainstem, thalamus, and spinal cord. Guillen met a bunch of WWE superstars such as Cody Rhodes, Tiffany Stratton, Bianca Belair, and Nia Jax at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle before the show. The young fan also shared a special heartwarming moment with Roman Reigns. Meeting the OTC was special because he was not advertised for the show and was also kept in an isolated room backstage to keep his appearance a surprise. Scarlett also spent some time with LA Knight and Chelsea Green earlier in the day at the Seattle Children's Hospital. A day Scarlett will truly carry with her always and forever. We are grateful to our hospital for hosting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in having WWE superstars, LA Knight, and Chelsea Green visit the hospital for a meet and greet for all the children and their families. The post on Scarlett's Instagram account also thanked all the crew at WWE SmackDown for the reception they got backstage. Roman Reigns returned on WWE SmackDown to help Cody Rhodes. The first bout on SmackDown last Friday was a steel cage match for the undisputed WWE Championship between Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa. Rhodes overcame Sikoa to retain his title before the rest of the bloodline entered the cage to attack him. Roman Reigns made his surprise return after a month of absence following a brutal attack by Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. The OTC cleared the house and punished the Tongans before the new tribal chief pulled away Fatu as Reigns and Rhodes faced off. Later in the show, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes agreed to team up at WWE Bad Blood next month to take on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. The premium live event will be held at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Following a major episode of WWE SmackDown, a somber atmosphere settled backstage as multiple WWE stars faced an unexpected, heartbreaking turn of events. While the night had ended with the usual spectacle of fierce competition and electrifying promos, it was the backstage events that left an emotional scar on the wrestlers and crew. Roman Reigns had just finished another epic promo, reinforcing his dominance as the tribal chief and his position as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. The Bloodline saga had once again captivated the crowd, but Reigns was far from content. The toll of leading the top faction in WWE weighed heavily on him, and backstage, a new storm was brewing. Roman's cousin, Nia Jax, had returned from her latest in-ring appearance with a noticeable limp. The physical toll of her recent matches had escalated into something far more serious, and the medical team was concerned. The severity of Nia's injury hadn't been revealed publicly, but as she limped to the trainers, Roman caught wind of the situation. Concern immediately etched itself into his normally stoic face. While Roman Reigns had built his current persona on ruthlessness, his bond with his family ran deep, and seeing Nia in pain struck a chord. He hurried over to check on her. "Nia, what's going on?" Roman asked, his authoritative tone softened by genuine worry. "I don't know," Nia replied, her voice tight. "Something's not right with my knee. It gave out again during the match. The trainers think it could be serious." Roman clenched his jaw, a rare moment of emotion showing through his tribal chief facade. "You need to take this seriously. We can't afford another major injury in the family, not now." Nia nodded, though the frustration was clear on her face. She had just returned to the ring, and the idea of being sidelined again was unbearable. The thought of her wrestling career being threatened by injury weighed heavily on her, and Roman's concern made the reality of it hit even harder. The bloodline's dominance had been rooted in family, and Nia's potential absence would leave a noticeable void. As the two cousins conversed quietly, another rising star made her way through the halls of the arena, visibly shaken by her own backstage news. Tiffany Stratton, the self-proclaimed buff Barbie doll of WWE, had been having a breakout year on SmackDown. Her unique combination of athleticism and charisma had quickly made her a fan favorite. But the confidence she displayed in the ring masked personal issues that were finally bubbling to the surface. Tiffany had just received a call from her family. Her younger brother, who had always supported her career, had been involved in a car accident earlier that evening. While his injuries weren't life-threatening, the shock of the news left Tiffany in a state of panic. Her whole life, she had been able to compartmentalize, pushing aside personal struggles to focus on her career. But this was different. She hurried to a quiet corner, trying to catch her breath as she called her family back to get more information. Her hands shook as she pressed the phone to her ear, the bright lights of the arena suddenly feeling far too overwhelming. For someone who always carried herself with poise and glamour, Tiffany was now visibly unraveling. A concerned Liv Morgan, who had seen Tiffany disappear from the locker room, followed and found her in tears. Liv, who had been through her own emotional ups and downs in her career, immediately went to her. "Tiff, are you okay?" Liv asked, her voice soft but filled with concern. Tiffany looked up, her eyes red from crying. "It's my brother. He was in an accident, and I don't know what to do. I feel so helpless." Without hesitation, Liv wrapped her arms around Tiffany in a comforting hug. The backstage world of WWE was cutthroat and competitive, but in moments like these, the wrestlers were reminded that they were more than just co-workers, they were a family. "We'll get through this," Liv whispered. "I'm here for you. Whatever you need." As Tiffany struggled with her emotions, word of another sad development spread among the locker room. Drew McIntyre, who had just returned from a grueling match, had received news about his close friend and mentor in the wrestling industry passing away unexpectedly. The shock of the loss hit Drew hard. Known for his resilience and warrior spirit, Drew had rarely shown vulnerability in front of his peers. But tonight, after hearing the news, he couldn't hide the pain. Roman, who had been busy with Nia, soon heard about Drew's situation. Though they had been rivals in the ring, Roman respected Drew deeply and knew that the Scottish star had faced immense hardships throughout his career. Without hesitation, Roman walked over to Drew, who sat alone in the corner of the locker room, his head in his hands. "Drew, I heard what happened." "I'm sorry, man," Roman said quietly, sitting beside him. Drew nodded but said nothing, his grief still too raw for words. Roman didn't push for a conversation, simply sitting in silence with Drew as the enormity of the night's events settled in. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and a few other stars had gathered around Tiffany Stratton, offering their support. WWE is often described as a circus of larger-than-life characters, but tonight, it was clear that behind the personas were people struggling with real-life heartbreak. As the night drew to a close and the arena lights dimmed, there was a shared understanding among the wrestlers. The physical toll of their profession was brutal, but it was the emotional toll of life outside the ring that sometimes hit hardest. Roman, Drew, Nia, Tiffany, and the others left the building not just as performers, but as individuals dealing with their own personal battles. In the world of WWE, storylines often blur the lines between reality and fiction. But on this night, backstage at SmackDown, there was no script, only the harsh reality of life and the deep bonds that held these wrestlers together.